Aim Allies here to talk about SD Tactical Arms and their offerings in the Hub ecosystem. So, happily, after my WB video, I got outreached to by a couple companies that are really just looking for like informational overviews. So, yeah, these were free. Just going to start with that immediately. But let's talk about them. So, what we have here are muzzle devices and suppressor mounts in the Plan B or Hub ecosystem. So that's the really common 1 3/4 that you see all the time lately. Polonium, the Cat stuff, CGS. A lot of companies now are doing Hub, and Rearden is the big company that honestly comes to mind usually when you're talking about these sorts of things. What drew my interest initially to this company is the fact that these mounts are almost every single one of them that I have here today is available in titanium, which even the muzzle devices, these are extremely light, and you might say that doesn't really make a difference, but if you backpack or anything like that, travel for longer distances or even swing a gun around a lot in competition, that ounces on the front of the gun make a huge difference. So if you're able to sneak some weight out of there by just using titanium mounts that are reasonably priced, I honestly think it's a huge win. So these are available for, I believe they're around $65 to $70, and that's almost half the price of a lot of the competitors for their pricing. So just off the bat, the actual devices and mounts here, demonetized. This is the mount, my Hub rear mount, which they call their taper mount, suppressor mount, on my Helios. So this is, a very nice upgrade on this can because it makes it about 1.5 ounces lighter than the other ones that are made out of steel, which I like quite a bit, for obvious reasons. So let's talk about what's the same and what is different about these muzzle devices. The biggest thing that I immediately noticed and like about these that's different than a lot of the other ones is they actually have a wrench flat on the front. So you can just turn it on like a normal person. You don't need any special tool or anything. And if you have a torque wrench, which is what I use at home to mount these, you can just torque wrench these right on your vise. It's super easy. These wrench flats here are 11/16. The recommended torque is 20 to 25 pounds. Same as every other one, except, with the addition of the wrench flat, I do see some problems with it with, very specific handguard combinations. You either want that length in the rear to push it away from a handguard sometimes, or you may actually need a shorter muzzle device, which is what these are great for because the Helios, for example, very short blast chamber. So on the Helios, like I said before, we do have the extension ring. The extension ring, to be clear, is that because this only has like a 1/2 inch blast chamber or something. It's crazy. I don't actually know what it is, but most muzzle devices do not fit without some kind of extension. This one did need the full extension ring. Even the Atlas Helios mount would not be enough for that muzzle device to fit specifically. So I don't view that as a con. I actually think there's a problem with the Helios. Like I said in my other video or earlier, the WB fits on these muzzle devices with no problem. So clearly this is an issue with the Helios, not with the muzzle devices, but it is something to note if you do have a can with a short blast chamber. So we have a few different options for finish here. This is the carnivore coat. This is the, I think they call this the heat treat coat. That's what most people call it. Obviously much shinier. Sorry, this can is still kind of hot. The carnivore coat, you can see, does kind of wear, but I think kind of pleasantly. It looks like pretty weathered just from the wrench flatting. And I really like the carnivore coat for the mount. I think this is probably the color to go for like a utility rifle just because it blends in. And again, it's so light compared to a normal one. I'm going to put a weight on the screen here. I've talked about math on this channel too many times and messed it up to continue to do that on the channel. So beyond that, like I said, with the actual mounts, I'm not sure how much there is to talk about. They're cheaper, they're lighter, and they work pretty much exactly the same as all the other ones. The other thing that's important to talk about, which I already showed a bit, but the actual taper works really well. You can see all of that carbon on the actual muzzle device up here. Okay, well, it's not like coming off, but you can see it. And then you see how clean the threads are. That's what we want to see here. But you can see a pretty well-defined shoulder at the top where it was indexing, and it's pretty much clean below that. It's not perfectly clean, but I've also shot this a bunch without any suppressor on it, so I bet you that's why. Speaking specifically about the tapered mini Cyclone, which is what we have here, you can see this has radial porting. It does actually, I believe, take away quite a bit of recoil. I do really enjoy using this with no muzzle device in that regard. It is quite loud, it's a bit of a fire breather, and it does have that kind of long length, which does have a 14.5 pin and weld on there as well, so that's kind of nice. All right, this is the blast cage. This is a blast forwarding device. This has 0 baffles in it. You can see right through it, no baffles in here at all. The sole purpose for this is for it to direct that blast forward. So you can pop this over a brake and it will direct that blast forward instead of, you know, kind of all over the place and right at you. It definitely works in that regard. It is a fire breather. This thing shoots flames. It's honestly really fun. And it cools down really quick, so it's not really an inconvenience to just screw on as a, you know, have a little fun with it, take some video of it, and then put on a suppressor if you want. Also serving as the thread protector for these threads, I think that is important. Let's talk about the durability of the carnivore coat. So this gun has now fallen off the, you know, stuff like 5 times. I've gotten it really hot, and it does have some weathering, some, you know, spots on it and stuff you can see, but overall, honestly, in really good condition. And I really, you know, I actually really like the look of it when it gets weathered. And it's a naturally matte, so it's not, you know, super reflective. Really like this color for an actual functional use. The heat treat. This is super sexy. I actually love this. So all in all, I think you have a great system here. I am going to keep all of these. I'm going to use them all. I think that's the highest compliment that I personally can give gear. I really, you know, the only one I'll say I may not use as much personally is just the blast cage. To me, this is more of a parlor trick than anything else, although I may use it in a backpack with that gun, to be honest. I didn't really think about that with subs and wanting it to lock back still, but that may be actually enough for me to start using that in a backpack carry situation, because there's very few backpacks that are like kind of gray man, you know, not Scream Tactical, that fit a rifle with a suppressor on it, even one with a folding, you know, folding back ends. So yeah, I'm really a fan of these. I think, you know, if you're a suppressor hub mount ecosystem user, you should be looking at these mounts as a possible, you know, solution for you. I think the titanium is a big deal. You know, I as far as I know, there's no issues pairing titanium with other metals. I've read things on Reddit from the OCL owner that were to the same effect, that, you know, you can mix titanium mounts with Inconel suppressors. So I've done that here with my WB, and I've rock set it in, and you know, we've had no problems at all. There's not, you know, I've gotten this thing real hot to the point where the coating is starting to fade in a few spots, and there's been no issues with any kind of, you know, material differential creating problems with the threading or anything like that. So, you know, I really do think this is a worthwhile upgrade to get your cans lighter. These are just for the average suppressor user. I mean, I think everything here is really well priced. The function is really good. The concentricity of everything and the weight of everything is really good with the titanium, and how they make it. All the tolerances seem good. I've had no problems installing or using any of these devices. And I really have enjoyed using them quite a bit. If you are still watching this, you are the reason that I make this content. Thank you. Please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye.